create a GUI in Java, you'll need to use these packages, swing and AWT. So we can import javax.swing.star. So import every element belonging to the swing library, and you can import java.awt.star. And these will be used when we create our actual interface. The first thing we have to do to create our GUI is to create the window that we're going to put our GUI element inside. To do that, we have to create an object with type JFrame, and we can call this window, and we will instantiate a new JFrame object. If we run our program right now, you might notice that literally nothing happens, and the reason for that is because we created this, but we never actually used it. The window is not used. So what we have to do to use it is maybe we can get some hints by looking at what we could do. So we have all of these options that are within the JFrame object class, and what we can do, well, what we should do, I'm not going to find it here, but you should window.set visible true, so because we're going to want to set it to be visible. And when we run this again, we're going to see that we get a tiny window with there's no size because we didn't set that. So what we have to do, we also have to set the size. Set size and expect some dimensions. So let's say 600 by 400 pixels across my screen, and we'll see that if we do this, we're going to get a new window. We can move it around, and this is the base for our actual GUI that we're going to create. We can also add a title to our window. Set title, and we could put a cool title, my cool window. If we run this, you can see that the title of my window shows up right here. The next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to add something to be inside of the window. So but what we do is we do window.add, and then you can see we have the option to add a component. Now we don't have a component to add, so what are we going to add? Well, maybe we want to create a button. So JButton, cool button. And we could call it whatever we want, but I'll just call it cool button. Equals new JButton, and then we can maybe change some properties about the button. Set the text, click me, and then we can add this button to our GUI. I'm going to pass cool button into window.add, and then if we run this, we'll see that we get a button. It's as big as a screen, but you can see that we do have a button now. Another thing we can do to make it look nicer, we can do set layout, and this will take a layout manager. A layout manager that I happen to know works well is a new flow layout, and we can try to run this, and you'll see that our button is now centered and in the middle, top middle of the screen. You can see that our Java AWT has the flow layout because this used to be highlighted as we weren't using it, but now we're using it because we just added this flow layout. So that's one way to make your layout look actually nicer. If we want to make our layout look even nicer, we can actually set it to its own variable, object flow layout. Call this layout, it doesn't matter what you call it. New flow layout, and that's just what we would have passed into here, and now we're going to pass it into there using our new variable that we created. But instead, we're going to also modify. We're going to look at the methods and properties. What we want to make it look nicer. So let's do set alignment, and it'll take some int align. What we could do, you could do flow layout, the class, and you can see we have left. We're going to just make it left, and you'll see that now by default our button is going to be aligned to the left of our screen. Now let's see if we want to make our button actually do something. So what we can do is you can call a cool button, and then we can call a method add action listener, and we can pass this to do something. Now do something could be anything, but I'm just going to make a method do something, and do something is going to just simply print out button was clicked. And what we're going to expect to happen is that when we click the button, the listener will have been triggered, and we're going to do something, and the something that we're going to do is print to the console that the button was clicked. Now let's say instead of logging this into the terminal, what we want to do is we want to have a label that says the button was clicked on our actual GUI itself. What we'd have to do in that case add a JLabel. Simply the same as the button. You could say our cool label equals new JLabel. And the same way as our window and our button, we want to create a new object. In this case, it's JLabel. Other times it's JFrame, JButton. And the same way, we just want to say cool label set text button has not been clicked. And when we do something, button has been clicked. Although now we can see we have a problem here. So what we have to do is, all we have to do is just pass this in. Cool label. And the parameter here can be JLabel, cool label. And we should see a new label on our GUI. But we don't. Reason why? We didn't add it. Cool label. We created it, but we didn't add it. But now that we have added it, we should see it. Button has not been clicked. Button has been clicked. But yeah. So now we can see, we run this, button has not been clicked, click me, button has been clicked. Finally, let's say that all we want to do is we want to keep track of how many times we've clicked the button. Simple enough, all we have to do is create a global variable, static int count is equal to 0. So the count of the number of times we've clicked the button will start at 0. Every time we click the button, we can add here plus count times. So every time we click the button, we're going to increment the count here, and we're going to print out button has been clicked that many times. So when we click, at first we see the button has not been clicked. Click it, button has been clicked 1 time, and every time you click it, it's going to go up by 1, and that's what we expect to happen. As you can see, we've finished a simple project, and it took barely any time at all, and that's all thanks to the Java Swing and Java AWT packages.